Pennsylvania's vote flip update. Conflicting advice was given to voters throughout the day. Precincts were running out of emergency ballots. If you guys missed this story, I covered it the other day. Machines in Northampton, Pennsylvania, were flipping votes, specifically in the judges' race. Okay, if you selected, because for judges you choose to retain them or not, yes or no, right? So there are two judges on there. You put yes or no. If you put yes on one and no on the other, the results were flipped. Okay, and that they admitted, by the way, they did a presser and they admitted that that was a programming error, human programming error. So someone programmed it to do that. I somehow don't think it was an error. So yes, Antrim County, Michigan infamously flipped votes to award the county to JB. It was caught and follow-up count flipped the county back to DT. However, 3 more counts took place, and in the end, all 5 counts all had different results. The last 2 counts were different in the U.S. Senate race. In 2022, there was an infamous DeKalb County flip that saw a Democrat county commission go from worst to first after she saw 0 votes in her district. She voted for her, in which she voted for herself and her husband, unless he didn't, right? He's like, I'm sick of my wife. I don't want her to have more power. No, right? I'm going to vote for the opposition. This flip was eerily similar to Antrim County and used the same machines. Another flip occurred in 2022. This issue was in Cherokee County, Kansas, where they used ES&S machines and express vote machines with no ink poll pads, according to verified voting. During this primary selection, a county commission race was luckily the one county race pulled for an audit. Otherwise, the incorrect winner would have been certified. And now in 2023, during Tuesday's selection in Northampton County, Pennsylvania, they ran into hot water for the second time in 4 years. In 2019, the county had a formatting issue that required the use of paper ballots. This time, the ES&S machine flipped votes on a PA Superior Court retention question for 2 judges, Judge Jack Piniella and Victor Stable. According to the judge of the selection in one of the precincts, the third retention race for the judge, Jennifer R. Stetvold, was not affected by the glitch. If a voter voted all 3 as yes or all 3 as no, the ballot printed correctly. However, if a voter voted yes for one and no for another, they would be reversed on the ballot when printed. The issue was originally reported as a coding error by the ABC 27. However, the vice president of consumer operations of ES&S reported it as a human error based on programming. Thanks to Twitter hosts, the space hosted by AZ People's Alliance, Jeanette Garcia, and attorney Stephanie Lambert of Michigan, we had some insight from a local judge of selection, the head poll worker in Northampton. She joined the conversation via Lambert to tell her story and field questions. She began by stating that the issue persisted the entire day. Several advisories were given to poll workers from 3 different judges throughout the day. The advisories were sent via county distributed cell phones that were in each precinct. The precinct this woman worked at had begun issuing provisional emergency ballots to voters despite not having the secrecy envelopes for each. When you look at this is a quote. She said, when you look at the press conference from our county executives, they have such a soothing and calming effect, but that is not, in fact, the reality that was going on at the polling stations. It was the complete opposite. At approximately 8:04 a.m., the first advisory text was sent out to the county phones from the Deputy Director of Administrations and Public Information Officer. All ensuing texts are from this same individual. There's an issue with the text reads, there's an issue with the statewide judicial retention races being recorded on the paper ballot. Do not use machines. Use emergency ballots and then provisional ballots until further notice. Why did they even buy these machines? This was going to be a problem for the poll workers precinct as they were already beginning to run low on emergency and provisional ballots. Thankfully, at 9:12, she texted out, return to using machines. Inform voters that their votes for Superior Court retention will show up in reverse but be counted correctly. So now you got to trust that whoever's going to be adjudicating the results are going to be honest, right? At 11:14 a.m., a text was sent saying, Judge Abraham Cases has ordered that you are to instruct voters before the voter enters the voting booth that there is an issue with the recording of their vote for the candidates for retention of the Pennsylvania Superior Court, that the paper receipt will record the selection for retention to the Pennsylvania Superior Court, one candidate to the other candidate. That message is incredibly difficult to understand. Yeah, I didn't get it either. At 12:10 p.m., they write, based on a Department of State suggestion, we are advising you to make clear that voters should vote how they intend on the screen. So just do your thing, la 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 la, on the screen, and we will correct it. At 4:40, an order from Judge Murray, believed to be Judge Samuel P. Murray, was texted out. It says, per order of Judge Murray, poll workers are instructed to advise voters the following. Voters are advised to check the paper receipts to be sure that it properly reflects their intended vote. If it does not, then the voter shall ask for help from a poll worker. In such cases, in precincts with one V machine, the voter will immediately be offered an emergency paper ballot at the voting site, and their electronic vote shall be canceled. In precincts with multiple voting machines, the voter will be offered to vote on another machine, and their original vote will be canceled. If any problems occur, the voter will immediately be offered an emergency paper ballot at the site, and any electronic vote shall be canceled. At 6:30 p.m., another order was texted out. Per order of Judge Corey, believed to be Judge Michael Corey, he said you are required to say the following to every voter under penalty of contempt. At the end of the day, so what happened to everyone before that? I guess no, we just let it fly, right? Jeez, this is a place where the polls close at 7 p.m., I believe. For the retention election for the Court of Common Pleas, you should check your paper ballot to make sure it matches your vote on the machine. If it does not, then ask for help. So in other words, one judge is saying, yeah, go ahead and just vote, follow the machine. At least that was the first order. The second one's like, oh, very confusing. This other one's saying, oh yeah, if it doesn't match the machine, you can't use it. Yeah, ask for help. Yeah. Follow the prior instructions about providing a paper ballot they need help with. The Court of Common Pleas. Jesus, dude. So to recap, the poll workers were first told not to use the machines. Then use machines, but their vote will show up in reverse but counted correctly. Judge Case's order states that the paper receipt will record their selection. So it says now this guy's saying the paper counts. Department of State advised that the voters should vote how they intend on the screen, even though the judge is saying the paper counts. In another flip, Judge Murray orders the state voters are advised to check the paper receipts to be sure it properly reflects their intended votes. The last order for the Court Common Pleas has not been reported as being affected by this human error. Assuming that the remedy for the crisis improved over the course of the day, the initial advice given that the paper receipt will record their selection at 11:14 a.m. varied from the subsequent advisories that came out an hour later, which varied from the order that came out 4 hours after the last. If it wasn't bad enough to get conflicting advice from officials regarding votes flipping, it gets worse. Voters are already reluctant to use black box machines that are guarded with such intensity that if you examine them, even with permission of local election officials, you will be indicted and subjected to hundreds of thousands in legal fees. And now, voters are being asked to vote on a machine that prints a ballot that reads a barcode. According to the Director of Administration, Charles Dertinger, since humans cannot read barcodes, not only are they trusting the barcode reflects their intended vote, but they're also trusting the barcode contains the vote they cast on the machine that is opposite of the marking on the paper the barcode is printed on. If you had to think about that last sentence a few times, don't worry, so did I. I still don't get it. But maybe you guys do.